Hello, everyone, and welcome to week four. This week, we'll be talking about societal and cultural sustainability. And what we're going to be doing is a little bit different than our regular weekly class. This week, it is an entirely online, self-directed class. So basically, what's going to happen is that you'll follow through along on your Blackboard. This is also what we called it's called the force sequence, but essentially what it is that you need to do each step in the Blackboard shell in order to release the next step, which could be your quizzes, another lesson, or maybe a personal reflection assessment. So my name is Stephen Hilborn. For those of you who don't know, I'll be leading this weekly lesson, but for all intents and purposes, this is really more so of a self-directed mission of your own. So taking a look deeper into yourself, how you view societal, cultural sustainability, how you feel diversity affects your workplace or your college environment, and do you feel inclusive throughout workplace, personal relationships, or other. So just a quick review. What we'll be doing is that we'll review some of last week's major points, and also going forward, what does the rest of this semester look like? As your coordinator and also the lead on this particular course, I do want to talk about more or less how this whole project is going forward and how this course moves forward. We'll touch upon some of the review points, and then you'll jump into your quiz. After your quiz, you'll come back for another short video. We'll go over some of the societal, cultural sustainability initiatives that we've taken from a college standpoint. And then you'll use a personal reflection for 5%. And this is what this is going to be in lieu of your quiz for next week's class. So this 5% personal reflection will have to be completed before next week's week five's class. So first things first, this is where we're at right now. This is week four. We have our lesson on societal and cultural sustainability and your 5% quiz. Week five, next week, we're going to come in, we're going to talk about waste and water. So waste and water systems and how they relate to hotels. And the next 5, 6, and 7, those weeks are really, now we've already gone through all like the more top-down thinking about sustainability, broad strokes. And now we're going to really start applying some of this knowledge to actual hotel and resort locations. So we're going to be doing an in-class assignment worth 5%. This will be a practice audit. So you're going to go and look at all the waste areas. You're going to look at some of the bathrooms and water retrieval areas, do a little bit of testing, and then come back to the classroom and kind of with all of your notes and complete a short assessment. This is also a great time for some group work as we will as of week 6, your property breakdown is due. Week 6, we talk about sustainable electrical and HVAC systems, and HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We might do a campus tour, but we might just kind of look at some of the more useful tools when it comes to electrical and HVAC systems within a hotel. This is also when your property breakdown is due. So this is due by Friday at 5 p.m. for my class. It'll be at the end of class for whatever section that you are currently in. And there might be some time in that class to go over it one more time with either your group members or go over with your professor. And then week 7. So as you see here, week 7, we start talking about sustainable design and smart movement. We have an in-class assignment using a design tool called Visio. And the actual design tool will be looking at a hotel room and trying to convert it using the AODA framework, which is Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities. Essentially what this is making sure that somebody with a walker, wheelchair, some sort of disability is able to use all the functions of the hotel room. And it's quite valuable actually in the industry. And then you have a week off. Take that week, relax, and when you come back, you'll be going on either one of 2 field trips. So at this point, you should know of what field trip you're going on, as well as what group you're going with, and hopefully what person you are rooming with. If you do not, please reach out to your instructor and let them know, even if you just have some confusion. For those of you that are leaving on week 8, you'll be going to Horseshoe Valley Resort. We will have waivers and itinerary to you before then, but those will be all done And then on week 9, the other half of all of the sections will be going to Deerhurst. Hopefully it's going to be a fantastic time. When we come back on week 10, we go over one small lesson and we do some in-class assignments, which is really in-class training, which is where we'll be developing infographics. Now, the reason I say that this is in-class training is because your final assignment, your sustainability action plan, will require you to develop recommendations for these hotel resort properties, but also develop the recommendations in an infographic form because they're very easy to use, and it's it's a very good tool as far as training frontline staff. So we'll do that in week 10. Week 11 and 12 is going to be set aside for really just helping individual groups get through this assignment, work together. So we'll have a 5% progress report. If you go to Horseshoe, you only need to come on week 11. If you go to Deerhurst, you only need to come on week 12. And then on week 13, the Horseshoe Resort students will present, and on week 14, it'll be the Deerhurst. So I'll give you an idea of kind of how that works. Over the last 7 weeks, you will really be only attending 3 of those 7 classes. But it's very important that you come ready and able and willing during those periods of time. Okay, so last week we looked at a couple things, and I don't know if you can see through this. I'm going to move this guy up here. We looked at good life goals. So good life goals are a way for us in which to more easily understand the SDGs. The SDGs are complex, they're complicated, they're rooted in government policy. For us, they're rooted in provincial and federal and a bunch of different complicated systems that are not easily understood. So they developed the good life goals to kind of simplify it down a little bit, and for me and you to more easily understand what they're asking. So when someone says for me, a SDG is no poverty, I don't know how to help. That's a big one. I don't know how one single person may be able to help there be no poverty in the world. But when you break it down in this way, they'll look at the SDG and they'll first give you a learning ask. And what they say is, we want you just to learn about this. It's simple, it's relevant, it's easy even for children. The next 3 parts of this 5 parts is action. So they are increasingly more difficult. As we have mentioned, all of these should try to be upbeat, positive, happy. And then the final action would be demand change from leaders. And this is an example that we gave you in class. It's actually part of number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities. But the headline goal is love where you live. So the first part is learn about and take part in local decisions. Green Belt has been on the news. While we are not technically part of the Green Belt, not really, it's not far away. And the Green Belt decision, if you don't know, has been reversed, which is fantastic for the environment. So learning about it, taking part in this conversation, that's the simple ask. Number 2, 3, and 4, prepare for emergencies, get to know your neighbors, welcome new people, and protect your local environment. Those are somewhat easy, and it could be just picking up trash when you walk by it as opposed to just walking by it or kicking it away from you. And then finally, demand safe and good quality public transportation for everyone, and I think we can all get behind something like that. We also talked about greenwashing. So what is a green product? And a green product is many of these different items here. They're typically backed by an accredited, reputable company. I'm going to have to keep moving this. Apologies. Reputable company or reputable trademarking or organization. But in all reality, only about 5% of the products claiming to be all green are actually telling the truth. Now, this was also a very good question that I posed in our class, where is that still okay? Like, I know only 5% of all green products actually being green seems to be somewhat of a fail. But maybe the fact that many of these products are trying. So maybe they're not completely green, but they've gone from being 100% bad for the environment to 50% bad for the environment. They're taking steps in the right direction. And yes, it's maybe a bit of a marketing ploy. And yes, it's maybe a bit of a, they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes a little bit, but they are getting better. And that's what we're trying to do here. So greenwashing will be on this quiz. And then we looked at the major players in the green certification business. And we're really only looking at 3. And there's many out there, of course. And then also we're looking at the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, which is in quotations, the gatekeeper. So this is the council that allows people to approve their green certifications. Without their approval, no certification would be successful. Okay, so this kind of started with this, and all of these Green Key, Green Global, Green Step would have to go through the GSTC criteria to ensure that they're doing it properly. And we looked at 3 different ones, Green Key Global being the largest in North America. And of course, they have this scale of how many keys that you can get, and you'll see some companies there. Green Tourism Active, which is the largest online consultancy and the leading international one. And again, they all have their own kind of set levels. And then Green Step, which is the one that we'll be working with, and then gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the different things that they do. So at this point now, I would like you all to review last week's PowerPoint, take a little time, and then once you are ready, go in and answer the quiz. So there's going to be 10 questions. You have 10 minutes in which to do so. Once you complete the quiz, as this has this forced sequence of method, once you finish your quiz, then you'll be able to access the next section of the lesson for this week. And then after that one, then another assessment will open up after that. Okay, so good luck, and I guess I'll see you in a little bit.